Hi all, happy Wine Wednesday.
Happy Wine Wednesday!
Does anything look different?
Oh my gosh, Misha's finally in town!
We're coming at you live together from Austin.
Absolutely. I've been trying to convince this girl to get down here for I don't know how long. And at one point I was like, is she ignoring me? Like, is she actually going to come down here? Because I'm beginning to think that she's not. But I am thrilled to have you here. And we have so much cooking for you guys.
We do.
As you can see, we're a little bit already in the Christmas spirit. So if you're one of those like anti-November Christmas people, we apologize.
Yes.
We're just not.
We apologize in advance.
We are not. We are very happy. I'm wearing my like Moira Christmas sweatshirt, and we've discerned that Michelle is a truck.
Yes, I'm a truck.
She is a truck. And yeah, we're very festive in here.
Yeah.
And in line with the festivities, we are drinking a beautiful Chardonnay today. For those of you who don't know, I'm a little bit obsessed with Chardonnay and making sure that we are getting rid of the bad rap that it has because there's so many beautiful expressions of it. This is one of them. It's a Lioco, and Lioco is the producer, and it is coming from Sonoma County, which is actually famous for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. And I'm not really a New World Chardonnay drinker, but if I'm going to drink Chardonnay from the New World, Sonoma is definitely one of the places that I would. This is such an interesting bottle. They do it in stainless, so it's going to be a lot brighter than your normal Chardonnays. They do a little bit of it in neutral oak, so it's going to have a little more body than a typical stainless would. But I think this one's so good. It has like Thai basil going on a little bit.
Yeah. And, you know, typically when you think of Chardonnay, I feel like it's your grandma's white wine.
Yeah.
That's what I always think, and I would always like steer away from it. But let me tell you, it is very good. And I've actually had a few over the past week of Chardonnays, and I'm like, wow, okay, so it's not like typical grandma wine.
I'm telling you,
really
we're here to dissuade you from that.
Yes.
Chardonnay is beautiful. Let her shine bright like a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this one's only $22. So it's also a really good food wine. If you want to bring it for Christmas, like it would stand up to a lot of dishes like a red wine would. So highly recommend it. Love it. And I'm so glad we're drinking it together.
Cheers.
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 In keeping with the holiday spirit that you see going on in here, which is going to be going on for the next month and a half, today we're going to be chatting with you guys about keeping your calm amidst the chaos that is the holiday season.
Mm-hmm.
For many, many people, this is a time of heightened stress, right?
Yeah.
I know so many people talk about how it's super joyous, and I feel very fortunate that has been my experience most of the time. But there are so many people who really struggle with this season. And even if you're not someone who struggles with it on a very, very deep basis, if there are little components of it that are just like stressing you out, then there's a lot of tools that you can leverage or tap into to make it go a lot more seamless. And I think that the older I get, the more that I realize it's so important to keep your peace around this time because it goes by in a flash.
Yeah.
And if you're someone who enjoys it, like you want to be able to actually enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, without the like added stress and anxiety. We definitely have some really good tips to help you with that today.
Yeah, we're so excited. So we thought we'd start by like identifying some of the typical challenges or stressors, if you will.
Yes.
During this time. So I think the most obvious one, as we are all trying to get on our feet, especially in this economic climate, is going to be the financial stressors, right? It's so easy to just get carried away and want to have the best time ever and do all the things, budget be damned, with regard to Christmas. And I know sometimes we really, really get, or even Thanksgiving, it's not even just about Christmas. I know a lot of us get sucked into other people's parameters that they have placed on their holiday season and what's ideal for them. So, I mean, you're going to be dealing with increased expenses, like not only gifts, but just the travel that's required. And I know when I first got my first job, I've always been a Christmas crazy person. And I was like, oh my God, how am I ever going to afford all of these Christmas decorations?
Uh-huh.
I mean, Hobby Lobby wasn't doing the 50% off back then. So, but seriously, it adds up, right?
It does, yeah.
And there's so many there's so many things that are required from you. You're being pulled in a million different directions. And I know Michelle has talked a little bit about in the past when we did our budgeting episode, setting aside money each month for unforeseen expenses, or in this case, I guess it would be a foreseen expense.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. If you set a budget and know how much you want by December, just every month, like I said, divide that by 12 and just set it aside. So that when December comes, you'll have that nice little bucket of money to spend. You don't have to go into your, wages, your current wages.
Yeah. And I think like to Michelle's point, like when you're setting a budget for Christmas gifts, especially, I remember when I first started making my own money, I was like, oh my God, I want to get the best gifts for my friends and family. And I really want to show them that I love them. And I'm here to tell you that it's not about only the monetary experience. Like set a budget, because oftentimes that makes you be a lot more thoughtful with what you actually curate for the person.
Yes.
And also just like some of the things that I started doing was just like setting up traditions for myself that obviously you have your family traditions, but as you get older, if you start to set up your own traditions, maybe with your chosen family, or your friends, just what have you, there's so many things that you can do that don't cost that much, right? Like for me, it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to bake some cookies at home and put a puzzle together, while watching a Christmas movie. Like that's not that expensive. Right. You can get a lot of that stuff secondhand, and there's a lot of things that are going to be, not everything that you have to do during the holiday season has to be a ton of money. Right. And I think just being really like some of the things that Michelle and I have been talking about a little bit earlier, it's just like being vocal about the fact that like, if you have a budget, like do not let other people mandate how you spend your money. Right. Don't go on experiences that you can't afford. Mm-hmm. Don't buy things for people. Like it's nonsensical to me that people go into debt for Christmas.
I know, it really is. And always remember, it's okay, just tell people that, this year you're saving on gifts. And, I think really it's the thought that counts. So it really shouldn't be about how much you're spending on a gift. Even though, we like to give and receive nice gifts, but a lot of it's like the thought that counts.
Totally, the thought that counts. Keep it simple. And I think too, like, some other things, if you want to get creative, right? Like I've heard a couple of my friends have done this thing where like they gift experiences to people. Yeah. If that's more important in your friend group or in your family, or drawing, drawing a person that you're going to give a gift to, and then using your whole budget that you were going to spend on all the gifts on that one person, so you can get them something really amazing.
Right. Yeah.
I love those ideas.
Me too. Yeah. That's a really good one. Did you like a little grab bag?
I know. I keep trying to convince my family to do it, and they refuse. So instead, I've imported a budget because, like I said, I'm not going to be pushed around by other people's budgets. Yeah. Because we're all Christmas fiends.
Exactly. Yeah. One of the next challenges that we'll go into is time constraints, and even though it's only early November, I'm feeling it.
Yeah. Already. Same.
So when it gets to the time of year, all the holiday seasons coming around, we have different events that we want to go to, but we also have our basic responsibilities, also work to concentrate on, and also meeting those like end of year deadlines, which I think in a lot of people's careers, those are coming up soon. And I don't know if you feel this way, but it's like, I do want to do it all, but then I also see the importance of, picking a few things that I really genuinely want to go to and want to participate in, and just having, the strength, I guess, also to say no to people. And, that's okay. When I was younger, I would think that, I have to do everything. I'm a people pleaser. I have to go everywhere. But had to, figure out the hard way when I was burnt out, come January, when you want to be refreshed. And I was like, wow, like that holiday season took a toll on me. So just knowing your time constraints and also managing your time wisely.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like nobody wants the January hangover, right? Like you don't have to run yourself into the ground. And I think that this really piggybacks on a lot of the concepts that we've been talking about with burnout and setting boundaries. It's not only monetary boundaries that you need to be setting, but also time boundaries, right? Like you should not be expected to be, obviously family is important. Okay. But you should not be expected to be like drug all over God's green earth just to appease everybody. You have to make sure that what you're doing makes sense, right? Like there's other ways to put in the time. I know my husband is really big on like obviously the holiday season is super special, but like it shouldn't be this like isolated excuse of the only time of year that we see people. There are other times to show your family that you care. And I think that just running yourself into the ground is going to impact you worse in the long run. It's not even like you're spending quality time with people when you're doing that.
Right.
So just something to think about, something to chew on. And I think kind of piggybacking off of that, family dynamics are really complex during this time.
They are.
Kind of like what we touched on earlier, where like the season is not easy for everybody. Like some people are dealing with really like strenuous family situations.
Mm-hmm.
And while that may not be your story, everybody has somebody in their family that they have to navigate a complex relationship with.
Oh yeah.
And maybe it's not like Jerry Springer level.
Right.
But end of day, like these are things that you have to be thoughtful about and make sure that you're accounting for.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I always say people say things that they mean in the heat of the moment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that they don't mean
right.
in the heat of the moment,
yeah.
right? Like they take things to a level 10 when they should be at a level 2.
Right.
So if you know that there's complexities in your family, maybe be a little bit preemptive and start talking about some of those complexities prior to there actually being a conflict. And planning scenarios, like if you know people are like fire and gasoline together, maybe you're not going to choose to hang out with them together.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just being really thoughtful about that. And then also, like if you are somebody who loves Christmas, loves Thanksgiving, is obsessed with it, has the best family dynamic in the world, and has not a care in the world, just be a little bit more cognizant that not everybody is in that same boat. And make sure that you are being intuitive around other people and being a support system for them if this is hard for them or challenging for them.
Yeah, definitely. Very important. And then on that note, this isn't a time for all like the cheeriness. Like some people are feeling extreme loneliness and isolation, especially those that don't have families or their families live far away from them and they're not going to see them for the holidays. And whether that's, feeling left out, maybe if say you weren't invited to an event and you really wanted to be like that, or even like a family gathering. And then also, I know a big thing is, being single around the holidays.
Yeah.
I don't know if you used to feel this way, but when I was single, it's like always like, oh, like I wish I had a significant other to be spending this time with.
Yeah. And I really want to pause here for a minute, you guys. Being single ever is not a tragedy.
Right.
Being single during the holidays is absolutely not a tragedy.
Yeah.
And I know that the media has portrayed that it should be, especially with all these Hallmark movies where everyone's like, oh, I'm at the pumpkin patch and I met you and now we're getting married and like la 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 la. But like end of day, the holidays are a joyous time for literally everyone. That's what they're meant to be. It's meant for you to go out and like, you can spark romance in your own life. You can have a romantic time by yourself. You can have a romantic time with your friends. I know I have. You can also, like, honestly, one of the most amazing parts about being single is the possibilities, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the best time to be single because you can go out and be social. There's something going on at all times. And that's not to say that you should just like, to look to all ends, avoid loneliness. Like, no, like, there are also moments where you don't have to pander to anyone and you can sit on the couch all night and watch your favorite Christmas movies without somebody judging you.
That's true. While eating a pint of ice cream.
Exactly. And that's not sad or pathetic. Like, that's awesome. And we should champion that. And you should have as much time as you want. And it's funny because when I was in that thing, there have been times where I felt lonely when I was single and thinking like, oh my God, I wish that I had, somebody to share this with.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is, like, at some point in your life, you're going to. And you don't want to like miss out on the time that you're experiencing, having these experiences by yourself with your friends or with your family, just pining for something that doesn't yet exist, because then you're ruining that time as well. And I think like that's something that I wish had resonated with me. And then also just like reframing in your brain from a mindset perspective that like being single during the holidays is extremely exciting, right? There's so much possibility for you and there's so many things going on. It's like the social like Olympics of the year.
It is. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You have a lot to look forward to, especially with the new year coming. So just always remember that you're not alone. Other people are struggling. And if you're really like feeling alone, just like call up a friend or someone else to talk to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Definitely lean into your relationships and do whatever's going to fill your cup. Like it kind of goes back to the burnout portion that we talked about, right? What is going to make you feel better?
Right.
What fills your cup? What do you enjoy doing? Don't pander to other people, especially if you're struggling with this at this time of year. And don't commit too much. Just because there is a party going on every single night doesn't mean that you have to go to a party every single night.
Exactly.
If you want to, go off, do the damn thing.
Yeah.
But you don't have to, just because people are, it's not the situation where, oh my God, if I don't go to this one party, I'm never going to get invited again. So you shouldn't frame things if you're feeling overwhelmed. This time of year is supposed to be fun. You're supposed to be doing things that are fun. Things calm down in the business world, things calm down in the work world, in the corporate world, what have you. This is time for you to take a little bit more of a chilled approach towards things. Obviously still getting your shit done, but end of day, like it is socially acceptable for you to do things that are going to fill your cup during this time. So take advantage of that. Don't run yourself into the ground, because that obviously shifts as soon as we get to January from a corporate perspective, if that's your story. So just, be thinking about that. And then also, it's so funny that like we were talking about Hallmark movies earlier, and I think like watching those when I was a kid, now it's nostalgic, but like when I was a kid, watching them was it was like a trap. Yeah. Right? Because it would like set my expectation way up here. Yeah. Of what I was expecting for the holiday season. I'm like, no, I'm going to go to like the best Christmas market, even though with all the snow, even though I don't even live in a place that has snow, and I'm going to meet Prince Charming, and I'm going to get all these trinkets, and it's going to have cocoa, and it's going to be the best. Like, no.
Yeah. It's not always a fairy tale.
It's not always a fairy tale.
That picture.
Yeah. But it's also like, you really need to figure out, I'm not saying that you should have low expectations, but don't set yourself up for failure, right? Like you need to make sure you are defining for yourself what you want your holiday season to look like.
Right.
And then be okay if it's not picture perfect at all times, right?
Right.
It's like that thing that we talked about before, where it's like we anticipate so much, and then we're let down because it's like we spend all of our time anticipating instead of just, it's like future tripping.
It is, yeah. But I think also social media plays a huge role in that.
Totally.
Now on Instagram, I feel like it's also like funny. So I don't know who I was talking to this past week, but they were saying how, wow, this person is like posting so much like on Instagram and having like the best, like happiest experience. Meanwhile, they're like very depressed. And it's all like, I feel like what you put out there on social media is what you want the world to see. So I know that I do this. I'm like scrolling like, oh, wow, like they look like they're having the best time. I wish I was like out in Aspen skiing right now, or like out like, somewhere with all my family doing something fun. And just always like remember in the back of your mind, a lot of the times that a lot of people put it on there for show, and not necessarily it should make you feel bad for that.
Yeah, and the flip side of that is, as I've gotten older and I feel like I've done a better job of cultivating meaningful relationships around me in a life that I really enjoy living day in and day out, I've realized that the most fun times that I have are not curated, and I honestly don't even end up putting them on social media. So it's a highlight reel. I know we've said that before, but comparison truly is a thief of joy, especially during this time of year. I used to do that even with like stupid stuff like Christmas decorations. I'd be like, oh my God, their Christmas decorations are so much better than mine. Mm-hmm. No, they're not. Yeah. Like your Christmas decorations that you curated, if you never saw their stuff on social media, you wouldn't be disappointed about it.
Exactly.
So just don't go there, you guys. Right. Like just lean into the joy and like, the joy that is in the air during the season and the people that are around you, and make sure that you're really leaning into that as opposed to going on a doom scroll on Instagram.
Right. Exactly.
Because we've all been there.
Yes. We have all been there. Definitely. And then as a touch on also about feeling isolated, I know a lot of the times the holidays, it's, a sad time for people that have lost a loved one and are grieving. So I actually experienced this when I lost my mom 3 years ago. And I remember my first holiday season without her was very hard. Mm. And I remember what my boyfriend, Chris, actually, he would help me, and he would like just get me out of the house and just, focus my mind on happier things to take my mind off of it. And even though, she's always there in the back of my mind, a lot of the times too, it's like also it's okay to feel that grief and go through that loss. So, even after the first holiday without them, if you want to just like stay in your room by yourself, that's okay too. I know what helped me was being around my family, and also remembering the happy times with my mom, because I know that she would have wanted that for me. So I know, it can be a hard time for many, especially if it's the first holiday season. And like I said before, just know, a lot of people have gone through it, and, you're not alone. It's also like a good time to call up someone who has been through it and talk to them and, have them help you get you through it.
Yeah,
You're struggling.
definitely. And just to piggyback off of Michelle, you guys, it's okay. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
You're so used to going through a routine with people. And when you don't have that person by your side, you got to cut yourself some slack and show yourself some grace.
Yeah.
And really, like, that's the theme of today, is showing yourself some grace and cutting yourself some slack. And I think, one of the things that is really rampant that you see a lot around, you hear everybody say it, right? Like, oh God, I just ate that pie and I'm going to have to go work out like ×2 tomorrow. And I'm not going to lie to you guys, like, that is toxic. Like, if you want to work out to feel good in your body, more power to you. I'm here for it and I support that. And I think that's great. But you don't have to earn your holiday pie.
Right.
And if you're continuing to circulate that narrative and you're in a group of people at a party, you are doing damage to somebody, because there's been somebody there that has gone through it with their relationship with food, and you don't know how you could be triggering them.
Right.
Not to mention the self-talk that you're using on yourself. Like, but it is
so
okay.
Negative.
If you want to be super disciplined and not eat the pie, that's cool. But if you're already going to eat the pie, why would you make yourself feel bad about it?
Right.
Because then now you're not enjoying the pie, and you're making yourself feel bad about it.
Right.
Like, that literally makes
it's like a double punishment.
Yeah.
On yourself.
Makes no sense. Eat the pie. All things will work out. Like, literally everything is about moderation. It's not like you're stuffing your face with pie every single day.
Exactly.
So you really just have to find the balance, right? And it took me like pretty much all of my 20s to feel at peace with indulging during times like this, but it's special. And also it's okay to gain a little bit of weight during the holidays, guys.
Exactly. It is. Let me tell you, the past 2 weeks I've been like going. I've had people visiting me, coworkers in New York for a conference. Now I'm here in Austin, and let me tell you, I haven't been to the gym in 2 weeks. I've been eating whatever I want, and it's okay. So I know, like, I will get back into that routine, but I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying those experiences and with the people I'm with, and then also just enjoying life.
I know. I'm here to contribute a few more of those experiences this week while you're in town. I'm so excited. And guys, like, honestly, like, to wrap things up with regard to what we want you to take away from this as we go into the holiday season, it's chaotic for most people. You've got to figure out a way to prioritize your peace, to, keep calm and carry on. Getting my London on already, if you couldn't tell. But honestly, you guys, like, it's all about your mindset and how you're framing things. So there's so much power in the way that you view things and the way that you look at them. And you really, really need, like, we don't have these memories of the holidays forever. Right. They're precious. They only happen once a year. And I think it's really, really important to make sure it's like, maybe you're not a holiday person. That's cool too. You still don't want to be drugging around and doing all these things if you're not a holiday person. So setting boundaries there. If you are a holiday person, like I am, I just think it's so important to set yourself up for success and be more intentional with this time of year, because it does go by so fast, and these experiences are so special. And if you're a future tripper like I am, really take stock, you guys. Like, when you're doing things that are special, just sit and really take them in, because that's going to be January soon. We're all going to be back on the grind. And you just really need to make sure that you're leaning in to all of this, because it's special. And I want you guys all to have an amazing holiday season. And I want you guys to have these tools to be able to avail yourself of when things are challenging or hard, because invariably they're going to be.
They will be.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We've got a lot of exciting things that are coming down the pipe. We're releasing our newsletter this week. So for those of you who have not subscribed to our YouTube channel or to our website, there's a lot of information on our Instagram about it. We also have an ebook that there's some information on as well. It's free right now for a limited time. So if you don't have your copy yet, make sure that you're reaching out. Make sure that you're engaging with our last few posts. We want to give you the tools to help you actually put these into play during the holiday season. And we're super excited to provide you with some valuable content every single week.
We are. We can't wait to see like where things are headed for empowered women in 2024.
Absolutely. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and
Yeah.
enjoy the rest of your wine.
Yes. Cheers.